This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by AmazonHerb.net/AmazonAlive. AmazonHerb.net/AmazonAlive.
Dave Ridley signing in for RidleyReport.com this May 16th, 2008. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on the general status of Ridley Report, and there is a lot to report. But I've hesitated to report about myself too much because it doesn't seem to generate that much attention. It's a little bit narcissistic. But in this case, much of what I have to report is the doings of others. The recent upgrades that the Ridley Report has received are really mostly not my doing. First of all, I'd like to point out the unsung hero of RidleyReport.com, Ron Helwig, who has just created a whole separate RidleyReport.com site, within the last week or two. The old way I used to do it was just to broadcast as a YouTube channel, but Ron has gone one more and set me up so that I have Google Ads and my own separate site. This enables viewers to choose the way they want to experience RidleyReport.com. If they want to, they can just continue going to the YouTube channel, or you can go to RidleyReport.com and get a little additional functionality. Based on my experience so far, I would highly recommend Ron as your web boss if you want to have someone run your website. I've done a somewhat better job of promoting the other RidleyReport.com activist, Joseph Hart of Rhode Island. Joseph, just one day back in either April or March, started making Ridley Report cartoons and sending them to me, and I just started using them in the Ridley Report. They fill a very important niche because sometimes I'm doing reports like this where I basically, just need to give an audio report and I need some kind of picture to throw up even though I don't really have any video. Well, I can throw up one of Joseph's cartoons and it looks much better than just a picture of me, although I'm using those too. Joseph also gave us permission to use his images on RidleyReport.com itself, the new website. Then there's Max Abramson of Seabrook, who has decided to create, really almost again on his own initiative, in fact entirely on his own initiative, Ridley Report cafepress site. So now you can buy everything from Ridley Report mugs to Ridley Report thongs. Wonder how well those will sell. Yeah, check this out. It's a Ridley Report clock. You can use it to tell that I'm late for a story. Yeah, this one is my favorite, although it may have more to do with what's inside it than what's on it. Of course, again, these are all Joseph Hart cartoons. Oh, and you can touch base with Joseph if you want to get in touch with him by going to his YouTube website. It's youtube.com/organgic, although I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I do know I'm spelling it right. If you click the video description for this clip, then you can see a direct link to Joseph's site. And a direct link to the cafepress site. But again, thanks to Ron and to Joseph and to Max. It's just wonderful to see you guys doing these things. Now, something else I appreciate, actually, is my competition. There are now 6 trained Ridleographers running around shooting Ridley-O's and videos.
This is PHONH, and we approve this video.
Many of them are beating me to the story when something happens. And there are others out there who've never had the training, but they're still making good use of their video cameras. In mid-March, when Russell Canning was arrested, there were 2 video cameras operating, and they were both operated very competently, one by a student, one by a non-student. These guys were all over that event and all over David Cruz's civil disobedience on the same day. Then there's Kelly Halldorson, who has volunteered to do various administrative tasks on an occasional basis for the Ridley Report. Basically, she uploads my audio reports when I phone in. That gives me additional functionality. I can basically be out in the field, just pick up my phone and make an audio report of some breaking news, and she puts it on the air for me. Thanks in part to the effort of these folks, as well as loyal viewers, we passed 300,000 views since going on the air October 07, and now got more than 800 subscribers on YouTube. I'm signing up my 20th advertiser right now. As of March 2008, I was averaging 913 hits during the first 2 months of each video's airing. And more significantly, my number of hits per day has gone up from 1,200 as of February. Now it's up to 1,300. So between October and February, I was only getting 1,200 hits a day. Now between February and May, something happened that can continue to increase the number of hits, so that now my average overall is over 1,300. People seem to really show up at events, when they see them on RidleyReport.com. It seems to make a much bigger impression on people than seeing it on our calendars. And that's one of the most powerful things I've found about the whole deal. On the downside, I really don't make much money from Ridley Report activity, but, I shouldn't be griping because, to make any money at all as an activist is a win and a big deal. I've also been kind of bad about missing things. Maybe I'm not aggressive enough sometimes when I go up to do interviews with people who are against us or against freedom, and maybe I should just start rolling when I walk up to them instead of waiting for them to give me their approval to do an interview. But for all my faults, people are just starting to come up to me more and more on the street, who recognize me. This happened to me twice in one day last week, and in both cases it was people I didn't know or didn't remember. They weren't coming up to me because we were at some pre-scheduled event. They were randomly spotting me on the street. Of course, I do have some needs in the future. I'm looking at hopefully getting an ability to broadcast images live. Also, would need to. I'm looking to find a way to broadcast and be received even during a massive emergency. For example, say there were a widespread power failure that prevents folks from watching the internet. I'd like to still be able to broadcast somehow and still be able to be received. I'm guessing the ideal thing would be some sort of shortwave station, but I really don't know. You guys may have some ideas. Oh, and lastly, some of you have commented on the high quality of the music that I'm using. Of course, it's my little brother's music. Stephen Ridley is a composer and has graciously given me permission to use his music. But I think one of you recommended a site that I could go to get even more music before I bleed Steve dry. He's got, a limited amount of compositions, and sooner or later I'll use them all up. If any of you can remember what site that was, that you can go to download free music and music that you're free to use commercially, let me know, because that sounds like a great site. I have no idea what it was, but if I get there, I may use it some. My preference would be to use Steve's music when practical, but like I say, at some point it may start to get repetitive if I use too much of his music over and over. For now, what I'll probably do is start using more and more of Steve's music that I've recently dug up, and also use more of James Schlesinger's music. Of course, he's a great musician in the heavy metal genre and has given me generous access to many of his MIDI files. Anyhow, this is Dave Ridley, about to sign off for RidleyReport.com, but first...
Remember those tireless Ron Paul activists who came to New Hampshire for Operation Live Free or Die? Well, one of them is Debbie Ullman of Florida. Not only did Debbie fight for your freedom here in New Hampshire this January, she's now a sponsor of your favorite show, The Ridley Report. Debbie invites you to sample the exotic natural herbs of the Amazon Power Shake, Pure Camus, and a lot of other things that I want to eat, but can't pronounce.
AmazonHerb.net/AmazonAlive.